Hi YouTubers. Today we are doing a YouTube live and don't normally do these. I usually do them on another channel, but I am making my quarterly mother sauce and it is truly time to get this going because I have neglected it all summer. My basil is going crazy outside and I really need to get this done. So tonight I'm making this mother sauce, and it's the mother sauce for the reds. And so what I do is I make a big batch of the sauce and then I'll separate it out. And I can make a Creole sauce out of it. I can make several other things, but it is a big batch sauce. We're using this giant can of tomatoes. We're using like 4 onions and a massive amount of basil and garlic. So we're gonna get started. I like to do this in my large Le Creuset. And let me get the fire down a little bit because it's going to splatter. I've got the pot hot, which is what we want. And we're going to start off with our olive oil, a copious amount of olive oil. And I'm going to rearrange this camera here because I need it facing me a little bit more. There we go. And so we've got this, we're letting the oil heat up. There's about 4 chopped onions. I'm using the sweet onions. And we'll get that going in a second. You're gonna hear the sizzle as soon as that olive oil gets hot, and it's almost there. When I went out to my backyard. I have mass amount of basil out there. I've got Thai basil, I've got regular basil, and it's wonderful. So the house smells like basil right now. I've chopped it up. Some of the oils have distributed through, and it smells so good. We're gonna drop this in. We're gonna drop it this way. You've heard that sizzle. What we wanna do is get the onions to a translucent state. So we'll start it here, and the next thing we'll add, but we won't add it now, is our garlic. And the garlic we do not want to add straight away. And why? We always talk about this with my videos. We don't want to do it now because it will become bitter, and we do not want a bitter taste in our garlic. I love roasted garlic, and I wrap it up and just roast it on low for a long, long time. And it's so nice. Sometimes I'll put it in this, but tonight we're just gonna have a regular garlic. Let me get some of these stems off this basil. Now I'm just gonna coarsely chop the basil. Sometimes in the summertime, what I do is I go out, I take my basil and I'll just get the bottom off, the stem, and then I'll freeze it. And then when I'm ready to use it in the winter, I have fresh, really frozen basil, but the taste is still as good. So we're gonna chop this coarsely. Now these onions that I have here are coarsely chopped too. So not doing a chiffonade, which I probably should do, but what I want is I want coarse. I like texture in my mother sauce, so when we eat it, I want to feel something. I want to have a bite to something. So some people like to puree theirs. I do not like to puree mine unless it is for something special, for a special sauce. So you can puree it if you'd like. It's up to you. If you find stems like I'm finding, be sure to cut them off. If you find a bad one, get rid of it. So there's so much basil. Oh, there's a bad one. There's so much basil out there right now. We could go back for days and still have it. So this is, right now, they're starting to soften up. And that's what we want. Years ago, when my mom used to make sauce, my mom, of course, she was inspired by my dad's aunts. My mother really wasn't a cook. So when she cooked, and she put bell pepper and she put all different types of things in her sauce. And so what would happen, my dad liked it to stick to the pot. And so back then, they didn't have Le Creuset. They had something else called Magnolite, which I use sometimes when I make my mom's shrimp stew. If you go out and go to the thrift stores, you can find Magnolite. I'm still looking for more because it is wonderful. But I really like the cast iron enamel like we've got here. So my dad would like it to where there were bits of really almost burned pieces in there. For me, I don't like that, and my husband doesn't like that. So what I do is I get the onions. Some of them are starting to brown, but most of them are starting to become translucent, and that's what we want for a good sauce. And oh my gosh, the onions smell fabulously, and we're going to continue doing this. Now I have, again, a copious amount of basil. I'm not basil, sorry, of garlic. And I probably have 5 tablespoons. I like garlic. Garlic is wonderful for you. We don't have to take garlic pills because I cook with garlic so much. So if you like garlic, feel free to have at it. I like it, basically this is chopped finely, but you know, I don't really, in this, I don't like it smashed. Now if you're using roasted garlic, yeah, you'll have it smashed. But otherwise, you know, use your garlic. You could even start off with a garlic oil. And I just did regular olive oil, but so anyway, we are almost there on this basil. And I had probably 5 to 6 cups of basil. So you can gauge your harvest by that. Make sure we pull out all those stems. All right, we're getting pretty close to this. Now the onions are starting to get a little golden. They still haven't turned translucent yet. So you gotta stick around with me for a while. This is a little bit longer video. And we're almost ready to put the garlic in. So I have one of these number 5 cans, and this is crushed tomatoes in tomato puree. So I use this. It's gonna fill this pot almost up. I use one of the small cans of tomato paste. I use, again, that word, a copious amount of wine, and I use sugar. Some people like it tart. I like my sauce a little bit sweeter. My neighbors are the beneficiaries of my sauce, so I know I've got one neighbor on one side that has been hoping for sauce. What she does is the same thing I do. She'll put Italian sausage in it, or she'll do like a chicken cacciatore or whatever. She'll add to her sauce, and then she will, I mean, this is the beginning of it all. Now my other friend will just use the sauce. So, you know, we have lots of options. You can add, at the end, you can add a little bit of lemon. Sometimes I add a little bit of butter. Oh my gosh, it's wonderful. So, we've got this. And let's go ahead and add this garlic right now. I taught my staff in Indonesia. We had cooks and we had helpers, and it was wonderful. But knowing how I like to cook, I decided to teach them how to do this. And I taught them how to make ravioli. I taught them how to make this sauce. And everybody, when we left, everybody's like, oh, can we get your cook? So she had a lot of skills by the end of it. All right, so this garlic is right where I want it now. Here we go with this large container of tomato. And hopefully I don't spill it. There we go. And I have an apron on because it always starts to splash. Now I'm going to turn this down a bit. There we go. There we go. Okay. Let's get all this goodness out. If you are in an area that you can get a lot of fresh tomatoes, you can do this with fresh tomatoes. It is great. You can peel the tomatoes by cutting an X into them, and then dropping them in boiling water for just a couple of minutes so the peel will come off. And then what you'll do is peel it, and then you can seed it using a strainer by pushing it through the strainer, or there are other things that you can purchase that will help that. And if you don't want to seed it, that's fine too. You don't have to seed your tomatoes to make a good tomato sauce. Sometimes I just like to chunk those tomatoes up, and I love a chunky tomato sauce. And guess what? I don't care if there are seeds in it. I am not a purist. I'm not a chef, I'm a home cook, but I did go to culinary school and I worked in a restaurant. So basically, I do what I like. I am not a French chef, although I love, Julia Child, her cookbooks, and Ina Garten. I love all those. But, when you're a chef, when you're a home cook, you adapt what you like to the cooking methods. So, here's what we've got. This is in here. We've got it. It's nice, it's thick. The tomatoes, since this is crushed tomatoes, you're not gonna have as much texture. So that's fine. We're gonna go ahead now and add the tomato paste. You're gonna see how easy this is. It only really takes a few minutes to get it together. The biggest part is chopping up the basil and chopping up the garlic and chopping up the onion. So otherwise, it's relatively easy. Okay. Beautiful. Oh, you guys, the aroma is amazing. There we go. Now, here comes the next part. We'll stir that in, and then we'll start to add the wine. Today, I am going to use a leftover Sancerre, and then I'm going to use just Kirkland's Chardonnay. I like white wine in this. You can add the red. If you add red, it's going to be a deeper color and maybe a little bit richer. I don't know. I've done it several ways, but I do like the white in this. And the lady that taught me how to do it basically used white. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish that off. And I always recycle my glass bottles. There's a place here where we live, and they take your glass bottles like this, and they make them into beautiful vases, glasses, and what you do is you can get them etched. So we got some from Mark's company, etched with Sandberg Turbo machinery on it. And makes a really nice Christmas gift and a lot of fun. And they give you a discount if you bring your bottles in. So we're gonna get this stirred up. And remember what I said at the end, depends on what you like. You can finish the sauce off with a little bit of butter, or you can add hot sauce. You can do all kinds of stuff to this. But what I'm gonna do today is I'm going to chop up some bell pepper and some celery. And so that will go into a different pot over here. I am going to make a Creole sauce and probably use shrimp or chicken in it. I haven't decided yet, so we'll see as the day goes along what's gonna be easier for me to do, possibly the shrimp. And we're just gonna get this going here. Now, this is where I'm going to add the sugar. See how easy this comes together? And it's not one of those kind of, I've got to do this for this period of time. It's a throw-in recipe. In fact, you can even do it in your slow cooker or your multi-cooker. I have a Cuisinart multi-cooker, and that thing works so good because I can start off and do the onions on saute, and then when the onions are done, everything's done, and all this is done, I can turn it on heat because we're gonna let it simmer. We're gonna cover it and let it simmer. You're probably not gonna see that part, but anyway, I'll put this in right now and we'll stir this. Get it all incorporated. So I am not going to put the basil in right now. And the reason why is I don't want the basil just to deteriorate, disintegrate in here. Let me give this a taste. It's good. Now it needs its salt and pepper. We're going to use regular sea salt. And you can find the basic recipe on my food blog at www.cabeuser.wordpress.com. Again, www.cabeuser.wordpress.com. And it'll give you the basic basic measurements and what you can do. Now, I like the coarse restaurant black pepper. I'm not going to grate, do the pepper fresh, but this is good. I just got this one, and I use a lot of black pepper, so just so you know. We're going to taste again to see how, with a new spoon, never put the spoon that you tasted with back in the sauce, because you can contaminate it. And there we go. Let's taste this. Nice. Nice. So, if that wasn't easy, nothing was. We are going to take our cover here, cover it, make sure it's on low, and we're gonna let it simmer. And that's all there is, except when we add the basil. The basil will be added about an hour into the simmer. And then you're good to go. You can eat it over pasta. You can make a Creole out of it. You can serve it over, go to Popeyes, get some fried chicken, and then serve this sauce over it. Yeah, do it. So thanks for stopping in. It was fun. You guys have a great summer day. Bye.